Disclaimer alert.
Yeah, sorry guys, we have to give you a little update before you get into the episode. So today we talk about OTT advertising, and we specifically mention audio streaming, so like Spotify and Pandora, and how ads on those platforms are a part of OTT advertising.
True, but also not true. There's a bit of a controversy, and so we just want to let you know that there are some people of the belief that those audio ads are a part of OTT advertising, and then on the flip side, there are people that believe it is not because they think OTT advertising is strictly for video formats.
Yes. The content that we give you is still relevant. It's still good marketing advice, whether these audio platforms and the ads on these audio platforms are considered OTT advertising or not. But we just wanted to make sure that we gave you guys all of the information.
And so now let's go ahead and get straight into the episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business. We would never call you guys names. Before we get started, pretty please leave us a review. It helps us get in front of other small business owners, and we are trying to build a cult here, a good cult, of small business owners who feel confident and comfortable handling their marketing on their own. Also, another friendly reminder, if you're new here, we have a TLDL section. Too long, didn't listen. So if you don't have the time right now to listen to this entire conversation, we get it. That's why at the end of every episode, I give a brief synopsis of the conversation so you can get a little, summary of what's going on. And then when you have time, pretty please go back and listen to this entire conversation because, context is key.
It's everything.
It's everything. My synopsis will make 10 times more sense when you listen to the entire conversation. Vivian, what are we talking about today?
So today's topic is going to be on OTT, over-the-top advertising. If this is new to you, if you're like, I've never heard that phrase before, then welcome to the podcast. This is where we're going to talk about what it is and also why, as a small business owner, this type of advertising is actually within your reach, even though at first when we start talking, you may think, oh, I don't have that in my budget.
Yeah.
It's budget friendly in some circumstances. So listen up. It's another advertising opportunity. Before we jump into that, though, I did want to say we have a very special guest on the podcast with us today. Nellie. Chelsea, you guys, is wearing this little strip on a little pimple you have?
Yeah, I have a pimple. Thanks, Vivian, for letting everyone know. I have this really bad, when you get those really bad pimples, like they're really deep in there. So I had some of that leftover
surgical something or another?
I don't know what it's called, but it's the stuff
medical tape.
No, it's the stuff you put on top of your tattoo so that it'll heal quicker.
Okay.
So I got a tattoo this year. I had some of that left over, and I'm like, okay, well, it's supposed to help you heal. Mm-hmm. So maybe it'll help heal my pimple.
So when I looked at her, I said, you look like Nelly. And she goes, is that who sings what song?
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Okay, that is Shaggy. Okay, not Nelly. But then I had to pull up what Nelly actually looked like in his Band-Aid era when he was consistently wearing a Band-Aid in the same spot.
I don't think that's called a Band-Aid, but okay.
I mean, that's what it looked like to me.
Okay.
So anyways, Chelsea did not know who Nelly was. So I played a little clip for you. Yes, for you guys that are concerned and worried about this, don't worry. I caught her up to speed in like 10 seconds. I played It's Getting Hot in Here, so take off all your clothes. It gets so hot.
No.
I'm going to take my clothes off.
Oh, God.
Okay.
No, I know who Nelly... Do not do this. Okay? I'm known as the music person. I know who Nelly is. I'm sorry I don't remember what his face looked like and the style he would wear. And sorry, I got the songs confused. Vivian, what the heck is OTT?
Okay, OTT stands for over-the-top advertising. All right, go ahead.
Question, Vivian, do you know why it's called over the top, or were you about to get into that?
Yeah, so we were about to get into it, but go ahead and...
Well, no. I would love for you to explain, but I just want to say this makes more sense when Vivian gives her explanation, because when I first learned over the top, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, why is it over the top? Like, I don't understand. It makes sense.
Okay, so basically I'm going to use a dumb analogy, and then I'm going to tell you the real, like, technical part of this, okay? The dumb analogy is I want you to think about basically it's like if traditional TV had a baby with social media ads. Okay. And and the reason is because you are getting the benefit of being able to reach people while they're watching TV.
Sure.
But they work a little more like social media ads do in the sense that they can go into other platforms.
Yeah.
All right. So the technical part of this and the reason they're called over the top is traditionally in TV advertising, if I wanted to put an ad out, I would have to reach out to that station.
Yes.
Okay, so like Live 5, Channel 5 here is a local TV station. If I wanted a commercial in that, I would reach out to them and say, hey, what type of programming do you have? They would send me their schedule, right? At 2 p.m. we do Judge Judy. At 5 p.m. we do the Live 5 news. Okay, depending on which program I choose to run my ad in, my rates vary.
Yeah.
It's over the top because you are bypassing that. And think of like a digital ad. You're like, okay, instead of even dealing with, the local stations or having to worry about that without having to do national stuff, now I actually could go directly to the streaming services. Doesn't matter where somebody's located, doesn't matter about any of that. And I could reach into their TV sets and, display my ad.
Absolutely. So think Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. We're talking about advertising on those platforms, on streaming platforms. Do want to point out that podcast ads are considered OTT advertising.
Which is news to me because I guess maybe in my head I just didn't connect the dots. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Because it's still streaming.
Yes.
It's still streaming. You're still connecting with people. It doesn't matter which location. You're not necessarily reaching out. You can reach out to like Spotify specifically, but there are businesses like audio platforms. There are platforms like Audio Go where you can go to and figure out all of your podcasting ads. So, yeah.
So, basic, let's do a very quick one sentence. OTT, over the top advertising, is basically advertising on these streaming services.
Yes.
All right, there you go. And so the thing, though, the reason we want to bring this up today is because, first and foremost, disclaimer, I do not want you to discount this if you are a small business owner.
Yeah.
Chelsea
Which is who you are if you're listening to this podcast.
I mean, if you're looking for, therapy advice, probably on the wrong podcast.
We can't help you with that.
Yeah,
if anything, when you find a good therapy podcast, you let us know.
Send them over.
Yeah.
But I think the big part of this is, I was telling Chelsea earlier, even as a small business owner myself, sometimes what you could get caught up in doing is thinking, I don't have the budget for that right now. I don't have $5,000, $2,500 to spend on over-the-top advertising. Newsflash, you guys, you actually don't need that much.
Yeah.
You can there are some campaigns, like if you go on Hulu Ads Manager, you can actually start with as little as $500. Sometimes $1,000, right? That's the next level up. So just keep that in mind. If you're at a point where 500 is a little more reasonable, you know, people sometimes spend $500 on Facebook ads. Consider over-the-top advertising.
Yeah. Basically, we just don't want you to discount this. We'll get into it a little bit later in the podcast, but also don't stop listening if you're like, well, I don't want to create a video ad. It doesn't have to be a video ad. So keep listening. But first, Vivian, what I want to talk about is the benefits of OTT advertising. Like, why do we even care, right? For one, targeting capabilities. Y'all, you want to get specific. You want to target your audience. This is a great way to do it. Specifically because, one, it's digital. And two, streaming services, guess what, guys? They collect a lot of data.
Oh, yeah. Shocking, right? They're watching you.
I mean, just think about
your
Spotify.
Your small business can benefit from them watching people.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let them watching us go to waste.
Exactly. We're giving up our rights so that your small business can flourish, okay?
Targeting capabilities. Now, I want to say with cable, you can still target your audience. And that comes down to, I want to target the people who are watching Judge Judy. You know, picking where you're
programs.
What programs you're going to be at, your ad is going to be on.
Okay.
You can do it like that, of course, by location. If I'm in the low country, then I'll probably pick Live 5 News, like you said. You can still target with cable ads. And we're not saying cable ads are bad.
Right.
They're a little more expensive.
Yeah.
They're a little more investment, a little more time you got to spend creating this stuff. So if you don't want to do all that, OTT, you can still do it by location. You can still pick the programming. But...
Which I love this because how many of you have been guilty of sitting in front of like Netflix and Hulu watching something and you see a local ad and you're like, how did that small business, right? How are they advertising on my show that I'm watching on Netflix? It's called OTT, y'all, okay? You know me.
She's had an energy drink, guys. Well,
I've had a sip of an energy drink.
This, you know what? Both of us should not have caffeine is what this feels like. But great point, Vivian, that it makes you stand out. Because really, like you said, think about it. When you see a local business on these platforms, you're like, oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, so... There's one benefit.
Yeah.
But I want to continue with targeting because, okay, you can target a specific show, you can target location, but you can get even more targeted. You can do demographics, age, gender, sex, interests, behavior, the content that they're watching, the type of content they're watching.
Like if somebody likes watching cooking shows, right?
Yeah, you can target people who like watching cooking shows. You can target like people who are binging content. You can, of course, location. I believe we've talked about that.
Let's get even more granular on location, you guys. With they actually have options to go by zip code and by county. Okay, so if you have a storefront that is only, you say, I don't want to waste my money in trying to get other people from other counties to my store, great. You can narrow it down to your specific county.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can really narrow it down. There's retargeting.
Okay.
So if someone's interacted with your business in a way, you can focus your time on your ads retargeting them.
Okay.
Reaching out to them again to maybe close the conversion, or maybe you want to get repeat customers, and that's great. You can also do time of day.
Okay.
So you can say, I want to target all the people who are listening at like 5 a.m.
Okay, so you get the early birds and right? Yeah.
Yeah. And you can also do like show level targeting. I believe I already touched on this, but that's saying like Chelsea only watches Bob's Burgers and I want to target everyone who like only watches Bob's Burgers.
Not Unsolved Mysteries because she doesn't watch Unsolved Mysteries.
I like listening to my Unsolved Mysteries. I'm a true crime listener. I'm not a watcher.
There you go.
Yeah.
So one of the ways I would love for people to start thinking about over-the-top advertising is, Chelsea, when's the last time that you mowed the lawn?
Like the last time our lawn was mowed, or
No, the last time
I
you
did
physically
it?
mowed the lawn. Okay, there's a thing called a primer in there, right? Like
No.
it's the button. I don't know how many of you are listening and when the last time is you mowed your lawn. More power to you if you hire someone to mow your lawn, but
Tim mows our lawn.
okay, some of us still do.
Can I just say, I do like the weed whacking, okay? I do the edges
Okay.
with the weed whacker. I just don't mow the lawn.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
So there's a primer on the lawnmower, though, not these electric ones, the old school ones. And basically, you're supposed to pump it before you pull to get it started, to jumpstart the engine. Okay?
Girl, we have a riding lawnmower, too.
Okay, well, all right, so prime it. Think of over-the-top advertising, kind of like the primer. It's very good with being able to introduce your brand, your business name to people that are doing a different activity, okay? So they are not, unlike, let's say, unlike Google.
Okay.
If you're running a Google ad, you are more than likely, depending on the keywords and phrases you are using in your advertising campaign, you are more than likely reaching somebody that is looking and primed to buy, right? Yeah. If I'm Google searching, black traveling purse, I'm specifically looking for that and I'm ready to dish out money.
Yes.
Very different from over-the-top advertising. Over-the-top advertising, people are relaxing, they're watching, they're binging, whatever. They're not exactly primed to pull out their wallet and purchase right then and there, but it's a good introduction, and it's also, like you're inadvertently getting them to think about your business without them paying like super hard attention to it. And it also, and we can lead into starting to talk about, I know you teased this, Chelsea, but you said it's not just a video ad, right? So where we're thinking, hey, it's going to look very similar to an old school television commercial, that's not the case. The beauty of over-the-top advertising, remember, it's the baby of television advertising and social media ads.
Yeah.
And so that means it has capabilities of those social ads.
Absolutely, Vivian. And can I just say, before we get into how it doesn't have to be a video ad, but this is, like last week, we kind of low-key touched on the marketing funnel. This is the top of your marketing funnel.
Yes.
This is the awareness. This is where people are learning about who you are, and hopefully with more touch points, they will go down the marketing funnel to eventually making a purchase.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes. So it does not have to be a video ad. One, we talked about how podcast ads are still considered OTT ads, so it could be just a straight up audio ad. I'm saying podcast, I mean more like Spotify, Pandora. You don't have to put it on top of
audio
podcast.
Streaming.
Yes,
audio
streaming. That's a better phrase for it than saying podcast. Now, most people, when you think of ads, you think of the ads in podcasts. But if you have the free version of Pandora, if you have the free version of Spotify, you get those ads. That is OTT advertising. So it can be audio ad, or a lot of these platforms like Hulu, you can just do a placard or like a place card. So it's your logo, maybe like a sentence or something like that. At the beginning of episodes or at the beginning of shows, it says presented by.
Oh, okay.
And then your name.
Yeah.
So it does not have to be a video ad. There are on YouTube, they have surveys. I don't know if you've ever gotten a survey ad. Yeah. They have survey ads, so you could even do a survey.
Perfect. So I think the benefit when you put it that way is the flexibility in being able to, I don't know, maybe use what you got on hand, right? So you don't have to go out and create this like big, bulky, drop $5,000 to create an ad, a commercial per se, but you can utilize those dollars in different ways and just kind of get creative with it. And you could start off one way and then eventually, switch over.
Absolutely. And these there are platforms to create OTT ads that are very, very useful, very helpful, and very easy to use. An example for audio ads is Audio Go. I've actually used Audio Go before to an extent. So the ad never went live, but I went through the entire process of creating it. Here's the thing. It was for clinical research, y'all, for a clinical research study. Those ads are so hard to get approved. And it has to be approved by the government. And you can't say specific things. You can't do specific things. Like, it's a very regimen. So we just ended up dropping that entire ad altogether. But it had nothing to do with Audio Go. Amazing to use.
Very user-friendly as well,
Yes.
too. Like, I was poking around on there not too long ago because we're going to start running some audio ads ourselves for this podcast, and I was kind of teetering between using AudioGo or using Podbean. Podbean is very specific to podcast, obviously, but it was easy. It basically, you upload a MP3 file in the link that they tell you, you know, if you want a 60-second, if you want a 30-second, 15-second, you upload it, and then it basically, you give it the parameters where you want the ad to be placed and tell it the budget, the timeline, and that's it.
Yeah. And the targeting, very well done. Like, it, just like we were talking about earlier, you have a lot of ways to narrow down your audience so that you can get more conversions. Not necessarily better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop wasting your time Googling how to market my small business.
Join the S.O.B community. Get templates, expert advice, weekly Zoom calls with us, and a supportive group of other business owners for, get this, just $50 a month.
Marketing doesn't have to be hard when you have help. Head over to www.school.com/SOB. That's SKOOL.com/SOB, all lowercase. Join today and feel confident in your marketing. Vivian, let me ask you, since you were recently looking at AudioGo, and it's been a while for me, when I was creating this ad that never went live, I could set a budget, like an overall budget, or I could tell it how much to spend per day.
Yes. So what's interesting about that is the overall budget obviously is going to be like, you trust the platform enough to place your ad over, like, let's say a month, okay?
Yeah.
If I want to spend $500 over a month, they're going to find the best times to display that and use up all of that money. Now, what they probably won't do is use it all up in a week. Like, they'll spread it out.
Yeah.
But if you want more control over it, and let's say maybe you're not doing a 30-day, but instead you're doing like a 14-day, and I'm like, okay, well, every day I want you to spend the same consistent amount. You could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And this goes back to OTT being very cost effective.
Yeah.
One, you don't need a big budget, like Vivian's saying, $500. It's doable. But also, you are very much in control of how that budget is spent. So.
Yeah, I think even for, like, when I was looking at Podbean, the lowest you could do for an ad, I think, was 300. I'm almost certain that's what it was. So you could go low, but that's very specific to, like, running a audio ad on podcast, right?
Yes.
So that's a very particular channel that you'd want to use.
Yeah. It's going to, the price range is going to vary depending on what you're doing, but it's still cost effective compared to, like, cable TV.
Right, because $500 in cable TV probably would not get you very far. I
don't know if you would even be able to create an ad.
I mean, to be honest, even employing, because the one pro, and the last time I did a cable ad, it's been years, but the last time we did one, I know part of the benefit is if you're a small business and you did partner with cable television, and you didn't have a video commercial to run, they could help you put one together using their resources, their camera people and all that. They charge you a little bit for it. It's not super expensive. It's a much better option though than like going to a advertising agency, right? But now videographers probably do it on their own. So you have a little more options now with it, but it still would be more cost effective to do over the top advertising than to do, you know, a cable advertising, you know, option.
Vivian, now I haven't been in the like cable advertising realm for a while now, but back in my day, what was that, like 3-4 years ago? Whatever. I don't know if they would even let you do like a single ad. You would have to do like a package with them.
Yeah, no, you definitely would. But the package would be, and as a small business owner, a package would benefit you because you have more negotiating power over it. But the package you could do one single commercial, but what you're talking about is the extended amount of time that they would let you run the ad. So for example, you couldn't just say like, I only want to run this ad twice. Like that's not, you're not allowed to really do that, right? It's more like they're going to tell you have to commit at least 30 days. And this is how many runs you'll get within those 30 days, right? How many times will show your ad to people.
Again, there's a little less control that you have.
Yeah. It's, well, and think of it this way, going back to my very dumb analogy, when we were talking about why we call it over the top, because you're bypassing that traditional advertising, think about it this way. Like Chelsea said, traditional advertising means that you are leveraging their audience and their platform. So obviously you have to work with them because it's got to be beneficial. Yes, they want the cash, they want the money, but mark my words, they're not going to let some businesses, you can't be a brothel advertising on, you know, cable TV. That's just not allowed. You probably could after 10 p.m. All right. So they have restrictions.
Well, I love what you just said. It's cable advertising is more of a partnership.
Yeah.
OTT is you being in control. That's what it is.
And really you're leveraging the Netflix and the Hulu and all that. But at the end of the day, the way you need to approach it is just think about the fact that like it really is them having a baby, the TV ads and the digital ads. And because the thing is, the digital is always going to give you so much more flexibility. Think about if today you wanted to go run a social media ad, you guys, you could do it with a credit card number. You could do it, right? You go in there, you can make something in Canva, you can write the ad copy, you go to Facebook, you go to Instagram, you build out the ad. You press go, same thing with TikTok, and it's published, right? Like it goes through their approval process, which usually takes like 12 hours, 24 hours at the most, and then your ad's up and running. And so that's the beauty of being able to do this over the top advertising, where you don't get that with the traditional you know, television. It takes a little more coordination, partnership, the creative, all of this. Not dogging it. We still love it. It has a place. But as a small business owner, our responsibility is just to tell you what all your options are so that you could pick the best option for your small business.
Absolutely. Vivian, I know you also wanted to talk about cable cutters.
Okay, so this is the other thing, and this might be the last bullet point in your list of benefits. Okay, you guys, I did not realize this, and it was a nice little rabbit hole that I went down. All right, could you be a cord cutter? Do you guys identify as cord cutters?
Okay, can you explain what a cord cutter is?
Okay, guess what a cord cutter is. If I'm like, I actually saw this on a YouTube video today. It said, I used to really love being a cord cutter, and now I don't, because all these streaming services are starting to get bad customer reps and stuff like that. So what do you think cord cutter is?
My understanding is it's someone who doesn't have cable.
Right. So
Okay.
you've chosen not to watch cable anymore, really,
Okay.
and you've just done streaming services. But what shocked me about this is the movement that has gained speed with cord cutting, because never in my life did when I started, when we made the switch from, hey, let's actually start a Netflix account. Let's start a Hulu, right? We even do Tubi, okay? We like Tubi. They have like the good old school bad movies on there. They're so good, okay? Beverly Hill Cops, actually, it's a very good movie, okay?
Okay.
But it's, I never stopped to think, oh, I'm officially a, quote, cord cutter. There's a whole realm of people, though, that identify as this to the point where there's an actual dedicated YouTube channel called Cord Cutter News, has over 325,000 subscribers, y'all.
Wow.
Yes, they just posted a video about like 2 hours ago. It already had over 3,000 views on it. And all the guy does is share news about streaming services, like who's buying up who, Disney Channel's doing this, Tubi's doing that.
Yeah.
And people watch this. Like, people get really into their streaming services.
See, here's my thing, and this is going to age me. There was never a point in time where I had cable.
Yeah.
So
Age you in the bad way. You're too young.
my bad.
Yeah.
There was never a point in maybe when I was in college. We might have had cable. I don't remember. I think no, we did, because we watched the Weather Channel.
Okay.
But that was about it. I mean, once we moved out of that apartment, like, we had Hulu, we had Netflix.
Yeah, and for me, it was maybe like a lot of you listening. It was a little more of a big deal because, for one, the streaming services, they weren't as good as they are now, in the sense that, now Netflix and Hulu, because they are so successful at what they do, and they understand that really the power is, at the end of the day, it's almost like traditional new television.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason I'm saying that is because what the news stations back in the day would do is like, okay, I know that what's going to keep people tuned in is the programming. Netflix and Hulu do the same thing, except they're dumping money into like these films, these movies that they're creating, right, with their money. So, very similar tracks, just different in the way that people digest.
Yes, I have an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
We've come full circle, and we've created another version of cable news.
Yeah, we
Or
probably
cable TV.
Yeah. Well, in part of, because y'all know I was on this YouTube channel snooping, watching the Cord Cutter News, what the commentary consistently was people saying these streaming services are buying each other up, which means it changes the pricing. It gets a little more expensive each time. And it also starts to do what the television stations would do, which is like, you have maybe like 3 or 4 of the stations that go out and buy the majority of the other stations. They gobble them up, and then it's just like it's a little monopoly in a sense. So not any different, and it's just the way of the world, bound to happen.
Absolutely, yes.
But the reason I brought up this whole cord cutter conversation is, like I said, last bullet point in Chelsea's benefits is the fact that, for one, and this is quote, many of the younger and middle-aged audiences no longer watch cable, and so this is how you reach them. For some people, the truth is, like Chelsea, I don't remember a time where I had television. Okay, so if there's a whole group, a subgroup of people that just don't consume any regular old school television programming, the only way you're going to get to them while they're streaming is through a Netflix, through a Hulu, through an Audio Go, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. So those are our benefits. Let's do a real quick how to.
Okay.
Really, you just need to find what platform you want to be on. So if you want to do audio ads, then you can go to AudioGo. You can go, like Vivian said, to Podbean. That's going to be specific for podcasting. A lot of these platforms like Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus, you can go to their website and they have like a designated like manager area where you can do it yourself, create the ad yourself, and have the control.
Yeah, so the key components are going to be if you are interested in doing a OTT, yeah, you know me, over the top. Do you know what I'm getting that from?
No.
You don't know Naughty by Nature?
It vaguely rings a bell. I feel like I've heard that before.
You probably have.
I probably have. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, so where was I?
OTT.
Yes.
No.
No, hey, where was I going with this? So if you are interested in moving forward with it, just some of the components you're going to have is the actual ad itself, right? Whether that's audio, video, or like Chelsea said, a graphic, if that's what is required of some type of, whatever ad format. And they will outline that for you, whatever platform. So the ad itself, the platform, and then your budget and a timeline, how long you want to invest. That might be the question mark, depending on if you're a little new to OTT advertising, since each one of these is a little different. I would start with the platform, go investigate, see what their recommended minimum ad spend is, and then you could decide how long that, you can run that. Because if you're starting off with $300, it might only be worth doing an ad for 2 weeks as opposed to doing it for 6 weeks, right? Because then that's not going to be enough frequency for people to raise brand awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. Repetition. You want those touch points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Vivian, do you think we're ready for the TLDL?
I think we are. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is the TLDL. If you skipped ahead, I'm going to give you a little summary, but when you get a chance, go back and listen to this entire conversation because it will make more sense when you do. So today we talked about OTT, over the top advertising. The skinny of it is that it is advertising on streaming services. So think your Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Pandora. Audio ads are included in that. We talk about why it's beneficial, it's cost effective, it has really great targeting capabilities, and you're the one who's in control. There are platforms out there where you can build out your OTT ads like AudioGo. If you're doing an audio ad, you can usually go straight to this streaming site and they have their own managers where you can create your ad. You also are in control of your budget and, again, cost effective, so you can do what you want with the money you are willing to spend. And we just really want you guys not to count OTT out, okay? Right. It absolutely is doable for small business owners. It is cost friendly. I mean, a lot of times you can spend $300, $500. That's it. It does not have to be a video ad. It could be an audio ad. It could just be an imagery. So don't count out over the top advertising. Okay. You can do it as a small business owner, but if you feel like you need help figuring it out, you can always reach out to Vivian and I at help@theseasonmarketer.com. You can join our S.O.B community and we can sit down on a Zoom call and talk it out, figure it out. So just know that if this is something you're considering, but you're feeling a little iffy about it, Vivian and I are here to help, okay? So go be the best S.O.B you can be and maybe consider doing OTT over the top advertising.